Hi guys, Tie-Dye Chris here. So today I'm gonna do kind of a little experiment slash tutorial. If it works out, it'll be a tutorial. So as many of you know, I am a tie-dye artist and therefore I have access to a lot of dye. So I thought, we tea dye and we coffee dye. What would happen if we just tried using tie-dye on our paper? So this isn't like the alcohol inks. This is actual tie-dye dye, and see what happens. Okay. So I'm just gonna set you here. There we go. Okay. So what I have here, I have a pair of gloves. I have a tub, and I've put about an inch of water in it. I have some Dharma fiber reactive dyes, and I've got my upcoming sci-fi journal that I'm going to be working on. So I thought eggplant might be a good color to put in there. It's kind of a deep, kind of a spacey purple, you know. I'm hoping it works out. We'll see. And what I'm going to do, I've put like a little teaspoon of soda ash, which is a mordant, in here. I don't know if it would be necessary. It is when you're trying to tie-dye on fabric, and the thing with tie-dye, with this type of dye, is it bonds with natural fibers, including wood, and paper is basically wood. So I hope that it works out. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm hoping that we get some kind of a groovy effect. So I'm taking just a little bit less than a tablespoonful here, and we'll put it in here. Go ahead and mix it around a little bit. And I don't suppose you'd actually have to touch the dye if you didn't want to. You know, you could use like some tongs or something to put the paper in and out if you didn't have rubber gloves, but I don't have tongs. I'm just going to use my fingers. I apologize if you hear my washer going in the background. My studio here is right next to the laundry room, and with 2 teenagers and living under this roof with me and my husband, that thing's always running. There's really not a whole lot of time where the washer is not being used. Alright, so there's a few little other spots I haven't mixed in, but I think it'll be fine. It seems like it's mixed up pretty well. So I have some scrap paper. This was some stuff that, you know, was printed on. It didn't quite come out. There's actually faint lines on it, which might be kind of cool for journal paper. So let's see what happens. So I'm setting that one in there. Now, with this type of dye, in order for it to set, you know, it has to sit for like 24 hours. But that's on fabric, you know, on something that you're going to wash out and reuse. So with paper like this, I just don't think it's going to necessarily need to be rinsed or anything like that. That's my theory anyways. I want to show you here. I've got I have a couple of these giant sheet pans that I found on the side of the road once. So they are like perfect for doing arts and crafts and things I need to lay out and dry here in my office because they're movable. So I'm just going to line it with some of my rags here. I have rags that I use in my tie-dyeing, plenty of them, but you know, if you want to, if you have an old t-shirt or something that you would want to dedicate, I just figure it'll, you know, catch some of the drips anyways. Alright, so let's pull it out. See what we got. Ooh, it's very loose. Ooh, look. I don't know if you can see that, but it's drippy looking. Almost looks watercolor, and the dye powder is doing really cool things that you probably can't see with the camera. Alright, so the trick is to get it over here without dripping it everywhere. I think I'm gonna move the pan here. Nice. Oh, you guys, I think I'm onto something here. All right, let's do another one. I bet you could probably do a bunch of them at once, but they might be hard to separate. Here's one I already crinkled up. Kind of got torn a little bit. I like it how they look when they're crinkled, so maybe it'll give us a little bit of a different effect. Yeah. That looks pretty cool. Oh, I got both of them at the same time. They stuck together. What do you know? Okay. Uh-oh. I tore it trying to get it apart. Well, it's my first time trying to dye paper, so I guess there's a learning curve. Anyways, I'm going to still hold on to it because it's going to be a cool paper whether it's torn up or not. I can use it to decoupage and glue with. I'm sure if you went to decoupaging with this after having dyed it, and you tried to brush anything on there with decoupage or a wet kind of glue, your brush and the edges would probably pick up the dye. Just as a heads up, that I don't know if it would be the best technique that you would want to use if you're concerned about the dye not running into other areas. But I think as far as like putting stuff on there, making a journal page out of it, like using a glue stick or something like that, it might work out pretty good. And I'm liking what I see so far. I'm gonna do one more piece. I think I got room for one more piece for right now. I mean, these are gonna have to probably dry overnight. I could probably speed that up with my heat gun if I was that motivated. But I'm not. This is just playing around. Huh. All right, now this one's coming out a little lighter, like the first couple ones might have taken the vast majority of the dye. I don't know. It's turning out really cool though. I wonder if they're gonna be lighter in color after they've dried. Yeah, that one's definitely lighter than the first two. So apparently the dye does exhaust after a while, which is a thing. If you don't know anything about dyeing, when they say that the dye exhausts, that means that you've kind of gone through all the usability of the dye powder. So a little jar like this is 2 ounces. It's available at Dharma Trading Company or dharmatrading.com. For those of you that aren't into the fiber arts and don't know, they're like the #1 premier resource in the US for all things fiber arty. You know, they just kind of have a generic all around good supply of things. If you go down the rabbit hole with certain types of fiber art, you might try a different site, but Dharma has a lot of really cool shit. Anything you need for tie-dyeing, anything you need for batiking. They have wool, they have fabrics by the yard, stuff like that. Tons of dyeable clothing. But they have a nice selection, and these are just the regular tie-dye dyes. You would want to just go for the generic Dharma tie-dye dyes. They also have a huge selection of other types of dyes by other manufacturers, but their dyes are really affordable. So for this one, for about 2 ounces here, you're looking around $4 maybe. You know, it's not completely unreasonable. And they vary in cost by color. Yeah, they vary in cost by color because some colors just have more expensive ingredients. Okay, so I'm gonna shut this off for now, and I'll be back after a while. I don't know if I can turn this off with my gloved finger, and then I'll show you the results after they're dry.